Alan was only 12 years old, yet life had already taught him lessons that many people learn much later. He lived in a small, crumbling house at the edge of the city, where narrow streets were filled with dust in summer and mud in winter. The roof leaked whenever it rained, and the walls carried cracks like silent witnesses to years of struggle. Despite all this, Alan carried within him a dream that refused to fade. He wanted to study, learn, and one day rise above the poverty that surrounded him. Alan's mornings began before sunrise. While other children slept peacefully, he woke to the sound of his mother coughing softly in the corner of the room. His father, a daily wage laborer, would already be preparing to leave in search of work. Some days he returned with tired eyes and a few crumpled notes in his pocket. Other days he returned empty-handed, his silence heavier than words. Alan watched all this quietly, understanding more than he ever said. School was the happiest part of Alan's life. The building was old, the desks were broken, and the paint was peeling off the walls. But to Alan, it was a place of hope. He loved the smell of books, the sound of chalk on the blackboard, and the feeling of learning something new. He always sat in the front row, listening carefully, afraid to miss even a single word. His teachers often noticed his curiosity and dedication, but they also noticed his worn uniform and torn shoes. As months passed, the family's financial condition grew worse. Prices increased, work became irregular, and school fees became harder to manage. One evening, Alan overheard his parents talking in low voices. His father spoke of debts, unpaid rent, and the impossibility of paying the next term's fees. His mother wiped her eyes quietly, trying not to let Alan see her tears. That night, Alan lay awake, staring at the ceiling, his heart heavy with fear. A few days later, Alan made a decision that changed his life. He told his parents that he wanted to stop going to school and start working. At first, they refused, shocked by his words. But Alan insisted, saying he did not want to be a burden. With broken hearts, they agreed. The next morning, instead of putting on his school uniform, Alan wore old clothes and went out in search of work. He found a job at a small tea stall near a busy road. From early morning until late evening, he washed cups, cleaned tables, and served customers. The work was tiring, and his hands often burned from hot water, but he never complained. Every time he saw school children passing by with their bags on their backs, his chest tightened with pain. Yet he reminded himself that this sacrifice was for his family. Even after long, exhausting days, Alan did not abandon his love for learning. At night, when the city quieted down, he sat under a dim streetlight with his old textbooks. Sometimes mosquitoes buzzed around him. Sometimes the light flickered, but Alan continued reading. Books became his escape, his comfort, and his hope. One evening, a regular customer at the tea stall noticed Alan reading after closing time. The man was middle-aged, with kind eyes and a calm voice. Curious, he asked Alan why he studied so late at night. Alan hesitated at first, then spoke honestly about his dream of education and the poverty that had forced him to leave school. The man listened carefully, deeply moved by the boy's determination. The next day, the man returned and introduced himself as Mr. Harris, a school teacher. He asked Alan questions from his books and was surprised by his knowledge and understanding. Seeing Alan's potential, Mr. Harris promised to help him. For the first time in months, Alan felt a spark of hope light up his heart. Within weeks, Mr. Harris spoke to the head of a nearby school and arranged free admission for Alan. He collected donated books, a uniform, and even shoes for him. When Alan heard the news, tears filled his eyes. He could hardly believe that his dream was becoming real again. His parents, overwhelmed with gratitude, thanked Mr. Harris repeatedly. Returning to school after such a long break was not easy. Alan felt nervous sitting in a classroom again, surrounded by younger students. Some students whispered about his age and background, but Alan ignored them. He knew the value of this opportunity. He studied harder than ever, spending hours revising lessons and completing assignments. His teachers soon noticed his dedication and began encouraging him. Years passed and Alan continued to face challenges. There were days when he felt tired, moments when self-doubt crept in, and times when financial pressure returned. But each time, Alan remembered the nights under the streetlight and the sacrifices his family had made. Those memories pushed him forward. Alan's hard work began to show results. He consistently ranked at the top of his class and earned scholarships that helped support his education. Alan also continued working part-time, helping his family while managing his studies. Eventually, Alan completed his schooling with excellent results and earned admission to a reputable college. Standing at the college gate on his first day, he felt a mixture of fear and excitement. He knew the journey ahead would not be easy, but he also knew he was strong enough to face it. Years later, Alan stood on a stage, receiving an award for academic excellence. In that moment, Alan realized that education had not only transformed his future, but also given meaning to his struggles. Alan never forgot where he came from. He later dedicated his life to helping underprivileged children gain access to education. He often told them his story, not to gain sympathy, but to inspire them. He reminded them that poverty could limit resources, but it could never limit dreams.